In today's video, we are going to remove a heater core from a 2008 Jeep Liberty. Same procedure applies to Dodge Nitro. So whether you're trying to size up your skills and tool set against this repair, or you simply want to see what's involved in performing a repair like this video is for you. Since this repair requires opening the AC system, Freon will have to be recovered from the vehicle. The easiest way to go about it, in my opinion, is having a local repair shop recover your Freon for you and then charge it back up when you're done with the repair. Cost of that would be a fraction of the complete heater core replacement cost. The list of tools is rather small for this size job. Pliers, screwdrivers, trim panel removal tools, 7, 10, and 13 millimeter sockets. The only thing I would like to mention is T20 Torx driver for removing steering wheel cover, because regular Torx sockets may not fit there. And the drain pan to catch coolant when you disconnect the heater core hoses. Before we begin the repair, let's clear out the center console and the dash from all the personal items. Move the seats all the way back and leave the shift lever in neutral. Use wheel chocks if necessary. On this particular vehicle, the heater core has been bypassed due to leaking, so the heater hoses are already disconnected from the heater core. With the Freon recovered, the first thing we need to do is disconnect the battery. And now let's begin the repair. You can lower the glove box by squeezing the top corners like this, and then slide it off to the side toward the door, and the glove box comes out. Next, we're going to remove A-pillar covers by the windshield. May have to move the weather stripping off to the side a little bit. There is a little hook inside it that needs to be twisted in order for the panel to completely disconnect. On the bottom here, there is a cover attached with 2 plastic screws. Do the same on the other side. There is also a bottom cover on this side too. Having all the screws organized will definitely help you put everything back together in the same order as you took it apart. Take notes about contents of each cell because many screws will look alike. Next, we're going to remove the transmission shifter cover by prying it out. There is a 4-wheel drive switch there that has to be disconnected. And just like screws, I keep all the removed parts in sequence as well. Next, we're going to remove this floor console or center console. There are 2 screws, one right here and one right there. And 2 more right under here. There is also a cover at the back here with a power outlet that needs to be pried out. And the connector disconnected. And with the 4 screws removed from the floor console, it is almost ready to come out. There is a zipper on this parking brake handle cover, so unzip that and our center console is ready to come out. At this point, you can bring the parking brake handle down and remove the console from the vehicle. And there is the screws that were holding it. Next, we're going to remove this floor vent for the rear seats. It is attached with just one push pin right there. Pop that out, and the whole thing comes out. Next, this transmission shifter is attached with 4 nuts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there is a connector right here. Now you can put your shifter in park, and we just need to pop the cable off. Don't mess with this screw because it is responsible for alignment of your gear selector. All you need to do is tilt the whole assembly off to the side and pry it off like that. Now on the other side there is another cable that you can disconnect by pushing on this release tab like this. And the cable is out. The other cable has a release tab like that too. Right there. And now we can remove the shifter assembly from the vehicle. Next, we're going to remove this bracket held by 4 nuts. Next, we're going to remove this knee blocker, they call it. And just like the glove box, you swing it down and slide it to the side to remove it. Next, we're going to remove this kick panel at the bottom. May have to use some trim panel removal tools. Remove the kick panel on the passenger side as well. Don't pry it at the back, that's where the lip is. Start by pulling the front out and work your way back. And there's the lip I was talking about. Next, we're going to remove the steering column. There are 4 nuts holding it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there is a pinch bolt right there. There is also some wiring going in that we're going to need to disconnect. So there is this cover that we need to remove. There are 3 screws holding it. T20 Torx. 1, 2, and 3. With some wiggling and after removing the key out of the ignition, the cover comes out. Now we have access to all the connectors. One connector at the top. There is a couple more connectors on the other side. One right here and one right there. Next, let's disconnect the gear shifter interlock cable. We're going to need to turn the key to the run position and push down on the release tab at the top. That one. Next, detach this harness from the bracket. And now, with the wiring out of the way, let's remove all the nuts and bolts. First goes the pinch bolt for the steering shaft. Then we remove all 4 nuts, but the steering column still won't come out. There is a bracket here held by this 10mm bolt, and there is another bolt like it on the other side. Both of them need to come out, as I later found out. And this bracket covers another mounting nut. So there is the 2 10mm bolts I just pointed out. Make sure to hold up the steering column as you're removing the last nut. And with some wiggling, you should be able to remove the column from the vehicle. Make sure to keep the steering wheel from spinning so that it goes back in the same way it came out. Next, we're going to remove the defroster grill at the top of the dash. It consists of 2 pieces. The one on the driver's side is the top piece, and the one on the passenger side fits under it. Underneath this defroster grill, there are 4 bolts that we need to remove. Next, we're going to need to remove this centerpiece. You can just pry it out at the top, and then you're going to have to lift it up to disconnect the bottom. There is the retaining clips at the top on both sides. But then at the bottom, there are hooks keeping the panel in place. Disconnect all 4 connectors and the panel is out. Next, we're going to need to remove the instrument cluster. There is a screw right here, 7mm. Remove the screw and this cover pops right out. Instrument cluster is held by 4 screws of the same size. There are 3 connectors at the back of the cluster that need to be disconnected. Next, there are 2 10mm nuts that need to be removed. I would also recommend removing this bracket completely. There are just 2 screws holding it to give you some more wiggle room when you're removing the dash. This is how it comes out. Next, there are 2 more screws right here. And 2 more right here. Next, there are 2 40-pin connectors on the driver's side that we need to disconnect. There is 2 more connectors that we need to disconnect on this side, right here. 1 and 2. And 2 more connectors right here at the top, for the brake lights and for the throttle pedal. And there is also a connector right here at the A-pillar that you want to disconnect. Now on the passenger side, we also have a couple things to disconnect. There is a connector right here, that one. You can also unplug this one and remove this little light with a screw right there. This wiring harness needs to be unclipped from the housing. There is a blower motor connector right there. And we also need to unplug this sensor right here. And now, finally, we have a bolt on the driver's side right here, and one on the passenger side. And with some fair share of wiggling the dash, we get here. But don't get excited yet. On the passenger side, there is a harness of 4 wires going into the firewall. That's the harness I told you to unclip from the HVAC housing. And you could technically look on the other side of the firewall and see where those wires go. It seems like one of them is going into the wheel well, and the other one is going somewhere under this air filter box. But I am pretty sure I already have enough room to pull out the HVAC housing. So let's disconnect the AC lines from the evaporator core. They're held by a 10mm nut. And the nut right under it is holding the HVAC housing. There is a couple more of these HVAC housing nuts inside the passenger compartment, right here. And now the housing is completely free. Now, in order to remove the heater core, we're gonna need to take off the air distribution box. We can start by removing these screws. 1, 2, 3. There is a couple clips right here. Another screw right there. And a little plastic clip right there. All these screws are T20 Torx again. I'm gonna fast forward through their removal process. As you can imagine, filming all of this takes a lot of time, so if you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. There is the final clip I need to pry away, and the air distribution box is out. Next, we're going to remove 4 screws right there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And also remove these pipe clamps. 1 and 2. With a little bit of wiggling, the pipes will come out. Now, one final screw. Pull back on the 4 tabs and pry out the heater core. And there's our heater core. You can see there is some residue right there from it leaking. The new heater core came with new pipes, new O-rings, new clamps, and a new cover. To fit the new cover over the heater core openings, I'm going to put some Sil Glide on both sides. Slide it over on one side. And then I'm using a screwdriver to carefully fit the other side over like that. Check the inside of the box for any dirt, coolant, or leaves, and so forth. And we're ready to put the new heater core in. Push it down until it clicks. And for installation, reverse the removal procedure. Now, while the rest of this job is pretty self-explanatory, there's a couple things I would like to mention. AC lines that go into the evaporator core have O-rings that should be replaced. You can match them up at a local parts store, or if a repair facility is going to recharge your AC system, have them put new O-rings for you before they fill the system with Freon. Second thing is pretty intuitive. Top off the cooling system to fill the new heater core, and then recheck the level in a day or two. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share your feedback and experience in the comments below. Thank you for watching, good luck, and take care.